What is going on, everybody? Today I will be ranking the 10 best college football quarterbacks heading into the 2024 college football season. Quarterbacks like Nico Iamaleava, Garrett Nussmeier, and Jackson Arnold will not be on this list because they still have a lot more to prove, and I don't think they quite belong in that top 10 conversation yet. But I am just going to leave them as honorable mentions because they have a ton of potential and could end up being a top 10 or top 5 quarterback by the end of next season. I just cannot realistically put them in the top 10 at least yet. But before we get into the video, let me remind you guys to like the video and also subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. And if you guys love college football, then you will love this channel because we upload daily college football content and we basically cover everything on this channel. So definitely consider subscribing and also consider joining my Discord server down in the description below. But without further ado, let's get into ranking these college football quarterbacks. And at number 10, I have Jaylen Daniels, who plays for Kansas. When Jaylen Daniels is healthy, there is no denying his abilities at quarterback. Jaylen Daniels threw for 705 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 1 interception, while running for 74 yards with a QBR rating of 82.7 last season. He got injured earlier in the season, but he has made it clear that he will be back for this Kansas team next season, and he will definitely be one of the top quarterbacks in the Big 12. In his last 14 games when Jaylen Daniels is healthy, he has thrown for 3,336 yards, 29 touchdowns, and only 8 interceptions while rushing for 691 yards. He's a very good scrambler, and he actually produced the highest combined total QBR rating of all returning quarterbacks over his last 14 games. But he has dealt with injuries in 2022 and 2023, and he hasn't quite been able to stay completely healthy. But it is hard to leave a quarterback like Jaylen Daniels off of this list, and hopefully he can stay healthy in 2024 because Kansas is going to have a very talented team, and the receiving room will be loaded with seniors. And if Jaylen Daniels can stay healthy and play his best football, then I would not be surprised if Kansas won the Big 12. But at number 9, I have another guy coming off an injury, and that guy is Cam Rising for Utah. Cam Rising already cemented himself as one of the top quarterbacks in the country when he helped lead Utah to back-to-back Pac-12 championships in 2021 and 2022. He missed all of last season due to injury, but he still does have one more year of eligibility left. And can you imagine if Cam Rising comes back and plays better than he was before he got injured? I know there's going to be concerns on if he can stay healthy or if he is just too rusty because of how much time he has missed. Utah went from averaging 39 points with Cam Rising to just 23 last season. There's no denying that the offense took a huge step down without Cam Rising in 2023. But can you imagine how good this team could be in 2024 with the offense playing at a high level again? Because we already know the defense is going to be solid. Utah is the cockroach team that the Pac-12 team struggled with because Utah was a tough team and they always played defense. Offense is definitely a great thing, but at the end of the day, defense wins championships, and Utah proved that. But you have to be good on both sides of the ball to be a championship contender, and Cam Rising will be back. So I am interested to see how much he can help elevate that Utah offense. Cam Rising is definitely a quarterback to watch out for because this Utah team has so much potential with Cam Rising coming back. But at number 8, I have another Cam, but I am not talking about Cam Rising. I am talking about the quarterback from Miami who is Cam Ward. I think Cam Ward may get overlooked because he was playing for Washington State and they only went 5-7 last season. Washington State went on a terrible stretch where they couldn't even win games or really score points, and maybe Cam Ward is a bit inconsistent, but I truly believe Cam Ward is one of the most talented quarterbacks in all of college football, and all he needs is an offensive line and a decent team to back him up. Cam Ward finally made his decision to pass up on the draft, and he decided to transfer to the Miami Hurricanes. This is his chance to prove himself and get his draft stock up. Last season, Cam Ward threw for 3,735 yards, 25 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and he ran for 144 yards and 8 touchdowns with a quarterback rating of 65.2. We've seen sparks from Cam Ward in that game against Oregon State in 2023 where he was slinging the ball deep for touchdowns, and he threw for a completion percentage of 82.4, and he threw for just over 400 yards and 4 touchdown passes in a win against Oregon State. The hype kind of fell off for Washington State, but I really think Cam Ward has potential to surprise a lot of people and be a potential dark horse for the Heisman Trophy because he's a very talented quarterback, and when he is playing his best, he may just be the best quarterback in college football, but he just needs to be more consistent. So I'm excited to see what Cam Ward can do next season, and I do think he belongs on this ranking. But at number 7, I have Jaylen Moore. People have a bunch of mixed feelings about Jaylen Moore. Some people just think he's an athlete and doesn't belong at quarterback, and some people don't think that he gets the credit he deserves. And I think no matter what people say, Jaylen Moore has a lot of potential heading into 2024. Jaylen Moore got a lot of criticism last season, but he's very talented and he's a hard worker. And could you imagine if he becomes a more consistent passer and elevates his game under Kalen DeBoer? Kalen DeBoer helped transform Michael Penix Jr. into a quarterback that could put up Heisman numbers, and he was the runner for the Heisman Trophy in 2023. Milroe is a smart player and he uses his legs very efficiently. and I do think he could be a top contender for the Heisman Trophy in 2024. We'll just have to wait and see how he adapts under the new coaching staff at Alabama. Penix and Milroe are not the same player, but Milroe can throw the ball deep just like Penix can. And any talented quarterback that is still young and has a lot of room to grow could end up surprising a lot of people. And I do think Jaylen Moore is very talented, and I do think Jaylen Moore gets way too much criticism. He might not be my favorite quarterback, and maybe I have him too low, but his ceiling is still a Heisman Trophy, and if he elevates his game under Kalen DeBoer, then he could be one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL draft. So I'm interested to see what Jaylen Moore can do going forward for this Alabama team. But at number 6, I have Noah Fifita. Noah Fifita was a big part of the reason for the rise of Arizona in 2023. They won double-digit games in 2023, and heading into 2024, they do have some questions because they lost their head coach and some of the talent on the team. But most importantly, they do return Fifita and their number one receiver, McMillan. And that quarterback-receiver duo alone could wreak havoc in college football. And Noah Fifita put up crazy numbers last season only as a freshman. He only started 9 games in 2023, but he had a top 10 quarterback rating, and he threw for 2,869 yards, 25 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions, even after not starting the first 3 games of the season. And he was very efficient, and he had a completion percentage of 72.4, only as a freshman, which was near the top of the country. He's definitely one of the top returning quarterbacks for the 2024 college football season. And could you imagine just how good he can be heading into his sophomore season and beyond? The sky may just be the limit for Noah Fifita if he continues to level up his game. But at number 5, I have Shadi Sanders for Colorado. And maybe I am overrating Shadi Sanders, but it is hard not to believe that it will be one of the top quarterbacks taken in the NFL draft. I know that he played for one of the worst Power 5 teams, and he is still one of the most popular athletes in college football, but I do think he is actually one of the most talented quarterbacks in college football, and I do have him at number 5. He continues to put up impressive numbers, even with one of the worst offensive lines in college football. And Shadi Sanders threw for a record-breaking 510 yards in his debut for Colorado when they played TCU. I expect him to have a better team around him next season, and last season he threw for 3,230 yards, 27 touchdowns for 3 interceptions, and he had 4 rushing touchdowns, and he may continue to elevate his game. I mean, he probably got sacked like 100 million times, but could you imagine if he actually had time in the pocket and he had an offensive line to work with? He is already getting NFL buzz, and I do think he is one of the top 5 quarterbacks in college football returning, and he would probably be putting up even better numbers if he had an offensive line to back him up. And hopefully some of the offense additions can help this Colorado team at the line of scrimmage, but we will see. But at number 4, I have Jackson Dart, who is the quarterback for Ole Miss, and I think I rightfully have Jackson Dart this high. He's going to have one of the best receiving cores, if not the best receiving core in all of college football. And I believe he will really elevate his draft stock in 2024. And he had a great end to the season in 2023 when he threw for 379 yards and 3 touchdowns against one of the top defenses in the country when they beat Penn State in the Peach Bowl. I do not think we have seen the best of Jackson Dart yet, and I think he is one of the most confident quarterbacks in college football, and he will be a top 4 quarterback next season in my opinion. Last season he threw for 3,364 yards, 23 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and he ran for 391 yards for 8 touchdowns, and he had a QBR rating of 78.5. Jackson Dart finds ways to get better every game, and I think we've seen a preview of 2024 when Jackson Dart and Ole Miss dominated Penn State secondary and won that game. And I honestly would not be surprised if Jackson Dart was a finalist for the Heisman Trophy in 2024. This Ole Miss team as a whole could be a force in 2024, and I am excited to see just how good they could be with Jackson Dart returning at quarterback. But number 3 and number 2 was kind of a toss-up for me, but I ended up going with Dillon Gabriel at number 3, and he will be the quarterback for Oregon in 2024. And I have no doubt that he will put up numbers at Oregon in 2024, but I think I know what to expect from the 2 quarterbacks ahead of him, and Dillon Gabriel will have to fit into a new offensive system with new players and new coaches. Dillon Gabriel will be a 6-year senior next season, and he has been a great quarterback everywhere he has played, and he has never passed for under 3,000 yards in his career when playing a full season. Last season, he threw for 3,660 yards, 30 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and he ran for 373 yards for 12 touchdowns, with a very impressive QBR rating of 87.3. Dillon Gabriel has had success everywhere he has went, and he has potential to break many FBS records next season because of how much experience he has had. And I almost should have put Dillon Gabriel at least at 2, but instead I decided to go with Quinn Yates for Texas at number 2. And I think I know what to expect more from Quinn Yates in this Texas team, and I am confident that Quinn Yates will take another step up in 2024. Quinn Yates threw for 3,479 yards, 22 touchdowns, and only 6 interceptions last season. He didn't have crazy stats, but he helped lead his team to the college football playoff. And he will be returning for one final season, and he will actually keep Arch Manning sitting on the sidelines another season, which is crazy to think about. Quinn Yates should definitely elevate his game in 2024, and he has the tools necessary. And he now knows that this team can compete at the top, and he will have a new receiving core, but he will be playing for the same team. And Quinn Yates could potentially be the highest quarterback taken in next year's NFL draft. Put Quinn Yates at 3, put Quinn Yates at 1. It doesn't really matter, but we all know Quinn Yates is one of the best quarterbacks in all of college football. But at number 1, I actually ended up going with Carson Beck. Carson Beck quickly became a leader at quarterback for this team in 2023 when they needed a guy to step up. And now Carson Beck has a whole year of starting quarterback experience, and he will be returning for a Georgia team that might just have the most talented roster in the whole country. Carson Beck doesn't need to be fancy. He is just a great quarterback who always makes the right plays, and he helps elevate his receivers. And if Carson Beck takes another step up in 2024, I expect him to be the best quarterback in college football. Last season, he threw for 3,941 yards, 24 touchdowns, and only 6 interceptions. He ran for 117 yards and 4 touchdowns with a QBR rating of 85.2. And even with Brock Bowers hurt part of the season, he still handled the pressure and was a great leader for this team when they needed him to step up. In year 1 as a starter, he learned a lot, but year 2 is when he completely gets comfortable on this Georgia team and elevates his game to that next level. And he is definitely going to be one of the top college football quarterbacks, and I have absolutely no doubt about that. But anyways, that is going to do it for my top 10 returning college football quarterbacks of the 2024 college football season. Let me remind you guys to like the video and also subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. And if you guys love college football, then you will love this channel, because we upload daily college football content and we basically cover everything on this channel. So definitely consider subscribing, and also consider joining my Discord server down in the description below. But that is going to do it, guys, and peace out.